Olivia said this the other day when we were in press, but she said she's found, and I agree, when you're making a film that is kind of darker subject matter and a bit more serious and tense, those are often the funniest film sets to be on because you have to have the levity, you have to have this relief, and it is also kind of funny and silly to like pretend to be so tense all the time, and you laugh at each other and you laugh at yourself, or at least I do, because it's funny. I think I was drawn to the role because it wasn't anything that I had ever read before. She's so complicated and misunderstood, and it feels very relatable. I think oftentimes when a woman looks a certain way, you're not necessarily thinking about her mind and how it works and what she feels, or how intricate and complicated her inner landscape is. I just found it beautiful and heartbreaking. You know, this girl she's drowning, but she's very severe, and I just thought it was interesting.
Hey, you're mommy's big girl.
You're my big girl.
She's driving me crazy.
What were your daughters like when they were little?
I can't remember much, actually.
I found it so relieving. I haven't experienced that honesty and on screen. I think sometimes, you know, when you see a mother having a difficult moment and they're like, oh, I hate myself. But like, it's far deeper than that. It's far more complicated. There's no way to feel great about everything all the time. And there's no way to be perfect at everything all the time. And like, maybe being perfect is being flawed as a mother. It's just like, it's so impossible to articulate, and it's a lie that you have to enjoy it at all times. And I think Maggie just tells the truth about it in this film.
The little girl lost her doll. She wouldn't stop crying.
Working with our director, Maggie Gyllenhaal, was truly a gift. Very rare kind of connection. She was incredibly confident and open and really created a very safe environment on set for us to be very bold. I feel like she's always been a director, and I think that in her heart she feels like she's always been a director, but maybe just never allowed herself to believe in it or feel that or think it. There was not a moment that she didn't have a fully realized response or opinion about what this movie was, or, you know, there was never a question that she was asked that she didn't have an answer for. You know, she was like totally prepared. And I think she also surrounded herself with people who helped her to be totally prepared in areas that she maybe wasn't so experienced. And she's just super smart and honest and really always looking for the truth and searching for the truth. And that is so brave and liberating and like bold. And her reality is like wildly colorful, and she brings that to set, and it was inspiring, and it made me feel like, oh yeah, I do really love this job. Like, I really want to make movies forever, especially if I get every once in a while, the chance to work with somebody like her. While we were filming, we talked about how Nina doesn't speak for the first 20 minutes of the film, but you see her quite often. And Maggie and I spoke about, sometimes in like old Italian films, like Antonioni films, that was one of Maggie's references for Nina, especially like how he shot Monica Vitti, really kind of objectified. And you see these women, and she was like, we are going to like really just watch you. But it didn't feel lecherous. It felt like being studied. It didn't feel invasive. It felt like being almost adored. And that is just an energy, I think, that comes from, you know, Hélène Louvart, who was the DP, was operating the camera most of the time, and I think that energy comes from her and also from Maggie. And then she really wanted you to feel like Nina kind of explodes into the movie when she finally does speak and you see her up close. It's like so cool because the stories you can tell without ever saying a word between two people is like, oh, what a way to use a camera.
Get up! Mommy, get up!
I don't have a process that works for every film. Every film is different. Every director is different. Every character, like, I don't know. Sometimes I really have nothing that I'm like, oh, this is something that I do every time. I'm always kind of working in my mind. I'm always like, when I'm driving or walking or talking to people, you know, it's like, oh, that flash of this, or like a little sliver of an idea, or like I'll pass somebody on the street and be inspired by her sweatpants, or like whatever, you know, it's always really random The costume and hair and makeup helps so much for me, especially like saturating in the environment where we were, being in Greece and like not caring if I was really sunburned and like really freckled and really kind of sandy and sweaty. Like I wanted it all to inform what we were doing. I didn't want to feel fake or like I needed to constantly touch up my makeup. It was like, let it drip and be gross, and like maybe not gross, maybe super sexy, I don't know. If I'm the type of woman that wears like a body chain and has like eye makeup on when I go to the beach, I'm going to let that like really live on my body. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. It made me feel quite wild, which I think is good for Nina. To maintain the tension on set, we only had a great time. Olivia said this the other day when we were in press, but she said she's found, and I agree, when you're making a film that is kind of darker subject matter and a bit more serious and tense, those are often the funniest film sets to be on, because you have to have the levity, you have to have this relief, and it's also kind of funny and silly to like pretend to be so tense all the time, and you laugh at each other and you laugh at yourself. Or at least I do, because it's funny. We've experienced a lot of women really identifying with some of the themes and feelings in this film. I've also experienced, which is so weird to me, or not weird, a little just like curious and interesting, I've experienced a few young women really disliking certain roles, really not liking Leda, thinking that she's so unlikable, and I disagree. You know, I understand, but that's not, you grow out of that throughout the film. And then the other thing that I've really enjoyed is men identifying with the film, like men really recognizing these women and going, oh yeah, that's my wife, or that's my mother, or that feels more real to me than the usual female archetypes I see on film. We all genuinely love each other. And I think maybe there's a little bit more from me. I feel very attached to these women. Like, I feel very attached to Olivia and Jesse and Maggie, and a little bit also to Paul Mescal, because I just love him like a brother to me. When I've really felt safe to go deep into my well of existence, or to explore something that I don't know, or to like reach to the ends of my capabilities as a woman, as an actor, as like a feeling, breathing being, I feel like it was a milestone in my own life. It was emotional growth for me. I like evolved. I understood more deeply. I learned from Maggie and Olivia and Jesse. I think Jesse also experienced kind of a similar growth, or like a shedding of something. And it's incredible as an artist to have an opportunity in this day and age, in this industry, where you're like, oh, really, truly, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as an artist. This is how I grow. This is how I express myself. This is how I learn. And so I feel like forever grateful to Olivia and Maggie for that, because they allowed it. You know, I was seen and I was held, and everyone was. And it all comes back to Maggie, but I think it's our relationship, our bond is very real because the work we did was very real. Worst person in the world me up. I don't remember the last time I wept. I was weirdly affected by that film. I think it's a very good movie. Come On, Come On, I think is gorgeous. Like, wouldn't it be nice to have a Gabby Hoffman in your life, in your family? What a woman. I think she's brilliant. And that kid, oh my God. What other movies have I loved? Power of the Dog I loved very much. Coda I thought was great. It's so fun to be like able to see these people, you know? Doing all of this stuff for The Lost Daughter is really cool to like talk to Jane Campion a couple times.